like other European countries, new cases of the UK to the other 7 European countries. So it's WHO aware of the sharp rise in the UK.
Didn't hear your question very well, but I think in general you were talking about the differences in numbers in different countries in Europe, and I'm not. I think all countries have gone. Didn't hear your question very well, but I think in general you were talking about the differences in numbers in different countries in Europe. Not useful to compare countries. I think all countries have gone through and are in different stages. I think we see of their epidemics. Countries have passed a peak or arriving at a peak. Not useful to compare countries at different stages of restrictions and so on is not. I think all of those decisions have been taken carefully. We've advised very clearly that countries need to make those decisions with great prudence. They need to walk back, and I think all of those decisions have been taken carefully. We've advised very clearly that countries need to make those decisions with great prudence, but that needs to be done. But it needs to have in place transition from one measures associated completely empowered communities, capable individuals that needs to be aware of the physical distancing, the personal hygiene measures very needed to avoid infection. One, communities aware and involved in the process, fully empowered, capable individuals who are aware of the physical distancing, the personal hygiene measures that are needed to avoid infection. Public health communities aware and involved in the process, fully empowered for testing, for isolation, for quarantining, strengthening of the public health capacity. This is exceptionally important. Finding cases. Our colleague Tom Free for the US has for isolation, boxing the quarantining of contacting people, and this is a strategy. We need to start finding our colleague Tom right now with the current situation. This to everybody need to start boxing the virus in, the virus spreading people. The only way we get to shift away from that, we need to start finding the virus, because right now, then limit the current situation as best everybody is those individuals who may have the virus spreading. The only way we get to shift away from that is finding the virus. Part of that is having a strong enough limiting the measures as best we can to those individuals who may have built in that it can react. And you're seeing many countries, and the last part of that is having a strong measured transition. Nobody is recovered and moving themselves and has enough capacity built in a dramatic way. And you're seeing many are phasing the response, and they're trying to look at measurements transition. Nobody is. We do appreciate that countries are leaving town type situation. They're taking some measures, and they're going to wait. Countries are phasing the response, and then see if those measures. They're trying to look at the measurements that going to further. What we do appreciate is that countries are leaving town, and we believe this taking some measures. And I think you'll see all countries in Europe see eventually, and then see if those measures can be then further extended, further loose of its epidemic and adjusted. At this point, we believe it's really important approach, and I think you'll see all countries in Europe countries eventually where they are. But as I said, each country is lifting of these public health social measures. At this point, I think it's really important in how they're dealing with their unique countries as to where they are in the lifting of these public health and social measures.
Thank you very much.
We have to look at the situation they're in and how they're dealing with their unique situation.
From Eduardo Teletrese. Eduardo, can you hear us? Thank you very much.
Yes, thanks.
Next question comes from
I'm Eduardo from Teletrese. Thank you for your time. Here in
Eduardo,
Chile,
can you
a
hear
car
us?
will be applied for recovered patients from COVID-19.
Hi,
The government from Teletrese, thank you for your time. Here in Chile, the rest of the population will be applied. We know that it is a measure COVID-19. Also, the government in other countries. My question is, what is the WHO opinion on this measure? We know that is it recommended a measure, and should a PCR test in order be required to deliver this discharge? What is the WHO? What is the international experience on this measure? Thanks. Is it recommended?
I will start with Maria follow up on the technical side. WHO does not have a position on this approach. I think what we do have, I will start with Maria follow up on the technical side at this point. Number one, it does not have a position what tests would be used. I think what we do have the state advice for countries to be very prudent. There is lots of uncertainty around number one, what such a test to be sure of how effective and how performant that test would be used to establish. And secondly, a lot of the preliminary information lots of coming to us right now, what such a test suggests be quite a low effective and how performant that test would need to be, have actually seroconverted. And secondly, a lot of the preliminary information that's been to an expectation would suggest that quite a low immunity rate have been achieved, and that the majority of people have actually already already have developed may not solve the problem. I think there's been the general expectation is pointing maybe that herd immunity towards a much lower that the majority of people in society may already have developed antibodies. And then thirdly, I think there are general serious ethical issues around the use towards a much lower of such a zero prevalence. So we need to address the very problem that governments are trying to solve. We also need to that the length of protection ethical issues. We're not nobody is sure of such an whether someone with we need to address this very protected against having disease. We also need to look at plus some of the protection that antibodies might give. Issues of sensitivity. Nobody is false negative whether someone with MA actually is fully protected believes their serum are positive or protected. Plus some of the tests situation where they may be exposed issues of sensitivity. They may give a false negative result. Now it's not that these tests cannot be used who believes their serum a lot of work to do to standardize those tests, actually ensure that they're validated, to ensure that they're used as part of coherent policy. Now, it's not that these tests are very clear public health objectives, but there's a lot of work to do to standardize those tests to ensure that they're validated in any way, to ensure that they're used we will look at what coherent policy is doing or proposing, and that there's a very clear public health objective all countries are proposing that they are not. We will offer the best advice we can based on science and ethics. So we will look at what Chile is doing or proposing to do. We will look at what all countries are proposing to do, and we will.
We will be issuing some guidance over the weekend on this because there are a lot of countries that are suggesting to use rapid diagnostic, rapid serologic issue, and we will be issuing some guidance over the weekend. They think will be a measure of immunity. Countries that, as Mike has said, right now we have rapid diagnostic, rapid serologic of a serologic test to be able to show that what they think is a measure of immunity from reinfection. And as Mike has said, what the use of these tests will do will measure the level of antibodies of a serologic test. That the body can show that an individual or two later after they've been infected with this virus. What the use of these antibody will measure the level of antibodies in that response that the body has level of antibodies. A week or two later after they've been infected with this antibodies means that they're and these antibody tests so we will be able to measure guidance around that level. It is a confusing area. That level. A lot of tests right now, but that does not mean that somebody and that's a good thing. It's a good thing that these things are being developed. And so we will be issuing some guidance around this to ensure that they are validated. There's a lot of tests right now that they say that they attempt to measure, and that's a good thing. It's a good thing that we hope to put some guidance out and that they are available. And that guidance will be updated as more information becomes and so that we know what they say that they attempt to measure, they are actually measuring. So we hope to put some guidance out over the weekend, and that guidance will be updated as more information becomes available.
Anush, can you hear us? Thank you very much. Yes, please go ahead to India. Anush Kumar from Legal Desire Media. Anush, can you hear us?
The Prime Minister of India extended the deadlines till 3rd of May. So for the reason in lockdown, internet is a complete lockdown in India as a day before. A challenge is that Prime Minister of India extended the regarding medicine 3rd of May. So for the reason in lockdown, internet is a social source of information. So can you please elaborate on what challenges that have allowed to COVID-19 data news regarding medicine, Facebook, WhatsApp, origination status, spreading across and search engine like Google? Can you please elaborate on what measures have WHO taken in social media platform like Facebook,
So I could start, and perhaps Mike or Gigi would like to supplement. We've been working with a large number of platforms. Google and Facebook, and I'm gonna list them, but I'm gonna forget to name them all. So I can start, and perhaps Fiverr would like to WhatsApp to make sure that a large number of platforms is accurate information. And we have been fighting this forget to name them all since the beginning with Fiverr. There's a lot of information to make sure that the information that is put out is accurate. Very hard to make sure that when someone searches for COVID-19, been fighting the first thing that comes up since the beginning. There's a lot of information that is website or the national websites, and so that very hard to ensure that when someone searches for COVID-19, and so when you search, the first thing that comes up is accurate information, and that would either be a WHO website or national it is confusing out there, so that you can find accurate information. Unfortunately, and so when you search, you misinformation is circulated more. So each of us has a responsibility that when we see something out there and we see something that is false, or unfortunately, sometimes the misinformation gets circulated more. But each of us has a responsibility that when we see something, myths, and we see something that is false, or inaccuracies, we have something up called Mythbusters, where we hear about rumors. But we're trying to ensure that we address the myths, we address those head on to make the inaccuracies, and we try to get that information out as quickly as possible to ensure that when you do search, that all of the platforms will give you the reliable. We address those head on to make corrections, and we try to get that information out as quickly as possible to ensure that when you do search, that
also provides direct access to many communities around the world. Religious and faith-based communities to working communities, to also provide commercial direct access to many places. And we have religious and faith-based for each and every one of those to working areas, to our webinars and our commercial sessions, all of which we engage with many places. With civil society at all levels, channels for each and every one of those. Just would like to say areas of which there are webinars and there are interactive sessions in which we engage with civil society all around the world. But I also just would like to say understand that we don't go after the messenger. What we try to do is make sure that we replace bad information with good information, and that's as important in fighting a virus. We don't go after the messenger. What we try to do is make sure that we replace bad information with good information, and that's as
I just would like to add to that.
Fighting a virus.
India has actually a strong capacity to help in this. It can play a big role in fighting. I just would like to add to that. And as India has actually a strong capacity to help Facebook and can play a big role in fighting. We would like to use this opportunity to act not only at the global level but at the country level. Facebook and taking into account India's capacity will be used really this opportunity. And as I said earlier, not only at the global level but at the country level directly, but taking into account India's capacity will be good. But at least, and as I said earlier, we would like to send messages and partner with India to fight using infodemic, which is actually but at least lots of we would be able to send messages and partner with India to fight the infodemic. Call on India, which is actually with us, causing lots of problems and blocking millions from getting the right infodemic has big. So we call on India to partner with us, use this opportunity because of its capacity to fight infodemic because it has big capacity. Thank you.
Radio World, PR X from Steak and Stephen, can you hear us to the US. We have
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Oh, perfect. In Yemen, you'll know that the first COVID-19 case was identified a week ago. And since there have been, since then, there have been reports of contact testing, but no other cases have been identified. In Yemen, you'll know that the first COVID-19 case was identified a week ago now to fight the pandemic. Since there have been reports of contact testing, but no other cases have been identified. What do you think Yemen needs now to fight the pandemic? And
WHO continues to support all communities in Yemen. We've put in place or are supporting local health authorities. WHO continues to support contact tracing. All communities using polio teams and put in place or are supporting. And yes, we have not detected further cases, but many of these communities they have direct, even present ages. I won't say more on pregnant women who need to give birth, say something with more on children who need to have infections right now. For many of these communities, they have direct, real diseases stages of their life, and therefore preserving who need life-saving interventions. There are children who need preserving feeding programs, preserving humanitarian interventions is just chronic diseases treated. So while we work therefore preserving life-saving interventions, that these people preserving feeding programs and many preserving humanitarian interventions is just as important. So while we work to try and many agencies, including our own, we have to remember that these people are desperate to try and ease the burden and have been abandoned on these for years. Again, and launched many agencies, humanitarian appeal, work with COVID-19 a number of weeks ago, we try and ease the countries who've responded again. We thank Mark Locke and his humanitarian appeal for COVID-19 and all our humanitarian partners. We do thank all countries for their untiring response to continue providing services. Mark Locke and others and his team situation. So we are concerned and all our humanitarian partners. We're also aware that these populations continue providing many more difficulties. UNICEF and others in these situations. So we are concerned. We are alert of but we're also aware that these populations face many more difficulties than COVID-19, and we must continue to provide essential services, regardless of the other situation, the political or conflict situation in those countries.
Thank you very much. Next question is Agence France Presse, Nina Larsson. Nina.
I'm just trying to pull up my I see the question. President Donald Trump said earlier today that he believes China's coronavirus level is far higher than admitted. This came after the Wuhan revised up its Trump said earlier today that he believes China's coronavirus level is far higher than admitted. This came after China Wuhan revised up its level by 50%. Thank you very much. I was just wondering how confident WHO is in the numbers.
So I'll start in perhaps Mike or Gigi would like to supplement. So we are aware of the new numbers that were reported overnight from China, which I'll start in 25 cases. Perhaps Mike or Gigi would like to supplement. So we are aware of and this was done in an attempt to leave no case, added an additional 300. What we understand is that they used an existing law statistics to find these cases. And this was done what they did is in an attempt to leave no case undocumented. What we understand is that they used an existing law. They looked at funerals to find funeral service systems, and what they did is they reused different databases. They looked at laboratories to see if there were any duplications or if there were any cases. They looked at funerals. They looked for cases in fever clinics. They looked at hospitals, detention centers. They looked at laboratories care centers to see if there were any duplications. And what they have reported is that the discrepancies in these cases they looked for were due to a number of factors. Hospitals, detention first is that in the healthcare system in Wuhan. And what they have reported is that the discrepancies in these cases were due to a number of factors. Secondly, is that medical staff were delayed in the healthcare system in Wuhan was overwhelmed providing care for those patients, and they didn't fill out the patients died at home. Next is that medical additional locations that were built, and if you remember, they were focused on providing care for those patients. Some of the hospitals themselves were overwhelmed, and so they set up. Next is that there were additional locations that were built, and if you remember, in other facilities where they put mild cases. Some of the hospitals themselves were overwhelmed, and so they set up. The reporting wasn't done in a timely manner, which were essentially stadiums were in other facilities where they put mild cases to be cared for. The reports were in those situations. And so what they did is they did a review of that done in a timely manner, and those are the numbers that were updated or added. It is very important to know the numbers of people who have died from COVID-19. And so what they did is they did a review of that and they revised their numbers, and those were the numbers that were updated. It is important that we have the accurate reporting of this. It is very important to know the WHO has developed some guidance around this, because this is a public, which is for the international guidelines. It is important that we have the accurate reporting of this. Classification and COVID-19 WHO has developed, and this is based on guidance around this that exists, which is for the primary international guidelines for certification to classify people who have died from COVID-19. And this is based on I just want to say that this is something that is our primary goal is to support countries to identify all of your cases and to identify people who have died from COVID as an outbreak happens. And I just want to say that this is something that I would anticipate that many countries are going to be in a similar situation to identify all of your cases and to identify all of the deaths as an outbreak happens, did we capture especially if systems are overwhelmed. I've seen a number of reports that many countries are going to be in a similar situation in a number of different countries where people have died outside of the hospital system. Did we capture and so it will take some time for those individuals. I've seen a number of reports from media. So it is important people that in a number of different countries die from where people have died outside of the hospital system. And we've provided some guidance. And so it will take some time for those individuals to be classified. So it is important that cases that do die from COVID-19 are recorded, and we provided some guidance to support countries to do so.
Like countries to be as fast as possible in that process. and I know that clarification is somewhat there, but we would also like to be sure, but it's really important to be as fast as possible in that process as it moves forward. I know that use of somewhat forensic to go through these processes, others where you can be sure, but it's really important to say yes, this was the size and scale of the COVID-19 case is better, and the use of probable case definition in New York, for example, others where you can, in a sense, say yes, this was a probable death, which gives a much better sense of the impact of the epidemic, and it's that kind of speed of doing that. Those numbers may change over time, but I think it's always better that people put forward a better sense as early as possible, because that keeps us that kind of speed of doing that. Those numbers may change and allows us to project forward, but I think it's always better when people put forward the data that they have as early as possible. So that keeps us on top of what the impact is, and allows us to project forward. It's important that countries provide that data much more as quickly as they accurate way. So I think, as Maria said, all countries will face this. But I do think it's important that countries provide that data as quickly as they can.
Thank you very much on this. Next question is Gabriela
our collective efforts forward to control this pandemic.
From Geneva-based press corps. Gabriela, thank you very much on this. Next question is Gabriela Sotomayor, our friend from
it's very nice to see you all.
Geneva-based press corps. Gabriela, please go
I have a
ahead.
question. I want to come back to the issue of Taiwan. We hear more that there's more criticism on Taiwan being excluded from COVID-19. I want to come back to the issue of Taiwan. And they can offer the experience to the world. We hear more that more criticism on Taiwan being excluded from COVID-19, and they have very few cases and they can offer their experience to the world. So I would like to have your comments on the
just to say, I will repeat what I said the other day. We have been working with colleagues from Taiwan on the technical side throughout this pandemic. And you're right, it's important that we learn from all countries what I said the other day. COVID-19. We have been working with colleagues from Taiwan on the technical side, have briefed throughout this pandemic. And you're right, it's important that we learn from all countries who are dealing with an exchange of information about what's happening personally myself in the regions. Have briefed from Taiwan as well. Members from Taiwan CDC, public professionals, a number of people who are surveyed in an exchange of information about what is happening, and our infection prevention and control networks also. And again, it's an opportunity where we regularly meet. We have a number of people who are serving in an opportunity to exchange information and our infection prevention and control networks. And this is, and again, it's an opportunity where we'll regularly first-hand experience through teleconferences to say how are they exchanging information, how peer-to-peer. How do we and this is invaluable to be able to have sort of regular experience with our patients to say how are they developing disease? How can we treat them? How do we prevent
Thank you for the question.
And so there has been a regular and open dialogue.
As we've said before, there's two parts to this. There's the participation. Thank you for the question. And within, thank you, Maria. Just to add WHO. Governance as within, for example, the World Health Organization, there's the participation member states of the organization. Within the WHO staff does not have the governance process decide those issues. For example, the World Health Assembly works, and that's an issue that operationally states of the organization to fulfill the mandate of WHO staff to coordinate the mandate to decide those issues. WHO staff to work assistance for the operational work to fulfill the mandate of WHO about coordinate participation, convene in advice to governance process assistance for the members. That's the work of WHO staff. This decision is about participation states in, but within the governance processes that we do as membership in the Health Assembly, there are a range of areas that we states. But within the technical work that we do, as Taiwanese and Maria has made clear, there are a range of areas that we can cooperate, and we listed those in there available on our website. I think just again to within the context of this, to remind of pandemic, the key ones and for generally response. We listed those in there available on our website. I think point of contact again within Taiwan CDC that has to remind us. Three of the key ones international health regulatory response now, event information. This is the point of contact key platform within Taiwan CDC, exchanging information to the international health regulation parties event stakeholders in the international This is the key platform. There are two of the key exchanging information that Taiwanese experts participate in. Parties, clinical management stakeholders and the infection regulation and control network. Two of the key clinical networks at least one Taiwanese experts participate in twice a week. The clinical management is the direct work and the infection between and control network. WHO technical at least once a week, sometimes mention these twice a week. And there is the direct contact between very important WHO technical level. We are looking at other ways to do so as well as this of Taiwan and as the expertise. These are very important and contribute and exchange to the. We are looking at other ways to do so as well as this technical work as the ongoing from whatever area that is really in the member states. The form, I hope that answers the question about the technical work that is ongoing WHO as far as the area that is really in the hands of member states, the formal participation.
I think it is important the WHO health authorities in Taiwan, like Taiwan CDC, deserve praise. They've mounted a very good public health response. Just to add to this, you can see that. I think it is important we praise the health authorities in Taiwan. We've seen similar approaches taken. Deserve praise. They've mounted a very good response. And we are observing and we are watching that, and we are bringing, and we praise colleagues into the networks that have seen similar data areas in Hong Kong, etc. Well, we are observing there in the watch, but also we are bringing Taiwanese colleagues into the communities that take the network. So they share from Taiwan CDC. We're involved in missions, both contribute their knowledge, but also colleagues seek Hong Kong SAR outside as a joint mission. I do believe that two health experts from Taiwan CDC were involved in the initial mission. So that there is SAR, Steve has said, is a joint these kinds of scientific collaborations within and without Health Commission in China are extremely important. But that there is Taiwan has said these kinds of scientific collaborations within without still in the front line. They've served and they have done extremely services, but to their population, Taiwan Health, as many others have around professionals and health workers, and from our perspective, but still in the front. We all stand. They've served professionals and they have done service to their populations, and as many others have.
Thank you very much. Now we will go to
we all stand
Simon
with our
Ateba from
professional
today's News
scientific
Africa.
colleagues
Simon,
everywhere.
can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you for taking
Thank
my
you very
question.
much.
My name is Simon Ateba from Today News
Simon
Africa,
Ateba from
and
Today's
my
News
question
Africa.
is
Simon,
on
can you hear us?
Africa. Not just sub-Saharan Africa. We know that the cases have escalated in the past few days. And my question, we have almost 1,000 deaths now. Not just sub-Saharan more than 17,000 We know that the cases have escalated in the past few days. That we can do in sub-Saharan we have Africa almost 1,000 deaths now. We have containment team more than 17,000 cases. And if I can quickly add something also, is there anything that we can do in sub-Saharan Africa at this moment that we've had 11,000 deaths? We've had almost 100,000 and something new infection. Here in the US, we have the authorities saying we are almost 11,000 dead. So my question is, when can countries new infection know that the peak at the same time we hear authorities saying, thank you, we are almost reaching the peak. So my question is, when can countries
Dr. Tedros may wish to speak to his, he did speak in a speech to his engagements with the African Union and leaders across Africa, which have been very intense. I know our regional director to speak to his, he did speak in a speech to his engagements with the African Union and leaders across Africa, which have been very intense. I know our, I think, 38 surge team support missions. In addition to the presence of WHO in every country, we have mounted, I think, 38 surge team support missions. In addition to the presence of WHO in every, you will have heard, country have sent in sub-Saharan Africa, now every country in the African continent actually, shipping mounted supplies through the Solidarity surge missions in sub-Saharan Africa. You will have heard in collaboration with the African Union, now I think with Africa CDC. With Shipping Foundation supplies through the Solidarity flights. So supplies are reaching countries in collaboration with the African Union, with Africa CDC. He referred to the fact that Foundation and countries now with the World Food Programme. Some countries, like South Africa, supplies are reaching, and others are developing high throughput diagnostic capacity. DG referred to the fact that actually Kenya and countries now have been able to implement that. Some countries like South Africa, and there are very good reference high throughput diagnostic capacity on the African continent. And I see congratulate Kenya Institute on being able to implement that extremely quickly. And there are very good reference facilities and reference in Kenya, African continent, and I see in Uganda, South Africa. So there are real capacities across Africa to do the job that needs to be done in Kenya. History of containing epidemics. So there are now real capacities across Africa. They're the advantages to do the job that needs to be done. Africa has. There's a deep history, but there are constraints containing epidemics. Very strong polio. These are difficult. Now this is a difficult disease to contain. They're the advantages. Not on camera as our Assistant Director General, but there are constraints. And there are most of the last year and a half. These are the front lines fighting Ebola. This is a difficult disease to contain, and not on camera as our Ebola, at the peak of the epidemic there, we were tracing most of the last years in context and the front lines affecting Ebola of a shooting war. And to the great testament, as I say previously, in Ebola, at the peak of the epidemic there, we were tracing 25,000 contacts a day, so effectively in the middle of a shooting war. That after the great testament, the bravery, courage, the professionalism, maybe Congolese from outside expect frontline professional African countries need support, i.e. resources. They need solidarity. Countries they need supply much more. Maybe people from outside expect technology and knowledge. African countries need support to take resources to fight to the virus. They need solidarity. And I believe many countries need supplies are doing that. And we don't believe that at this point they need the transfers of technology and knowledge to allow them. We believe to take the fight to the virus. The impact of the virus. I believe many countries and we believe that we need to accelerate those efforts. This number of cases posed on a daily basis on the continent. We believe a lot can be linked with all our member states with the virus. And we believe that we need to accelerate those efforts as the number of cases posed the virus on a daily basis. And DG may have some comments. Like with all our member states, we will stand with African countries.
If I might add, I wanted to just touch upon something that you said when you talked about containment and that it was no longer possible. I just want to echo something that if I might add, Mike said. I wanted to just touch upon something that you said when you talked about containment and that it was no longer COVID-19 virus. I just want to have seen in a number of countries now, not just in Asia, in a number of countries across Europe, that were facing this horrible outbreak where they brought it under control. We have seen in a number of countries now, has an incredible resilience, in a number of countries has outlined in terms of its ability we're facing this horrible outbreak diseases where they brought it under control. And Africa has an incredible to find cases that to care for cases in terms of its engage communities, to fight, build up infectious and empower communities and to mount this. And so I was a little worried in what you said. I don't want to care for cases, contain, engage communities. It's going to be a hard fight, communities and empower communities to be able to fight our African regional offices there. I was a little worried in what you said. I don't want you to lose hope. Containment is possible. We need to do more. It's going to be a hard fight. Empower everyone with the ability to test and to find cases, offices to have treatment centers available so that people can be cared for appropriately. We need to make sure that we need to practice physical distancing with the ability to be able to have hand washing stations where we don't have treatment centers available. There's a lot that people can be cared for, and I just wanted to highlight that to make sure that we practice physical distancing to be able to have hand washing stations where we don't have running water. There's a lot that we can do, and I just wanted to highlight that containment is possible. This virus is containable.
John. Thank you very much. We have time maybe for one.
Can you hear me, sir?
Questions.
Yes, please.
Very fast. We go to
yes. Good afternoon. Coming to the comments of Dr. Tedros earlier on introducing strict discipline on wet markets when they reopened. Yes. Good afternoon. We've been through this coming to the comments of Dr. Tedros earlier on introducing good animal discipline on wet markets when they reopened. There have been some exemplary examples. We've been through this, and Vietnam has been one of them. And how much has Vietnam's very good performance in this husbandry pandemic? And there have been some exemplary examples, to my knowledge, and Vietnam has been one of them. And how much has Vietnam's very good performance in this pandemic due to that very good animal husbandry?
I think, well, obviously, Vietnam deserve Hi, John. They do to manage the animals. We miss you at your press conference. In this particular case, their performance in containing the disease has been in relation to imported cases in humans. So in that sense, they do to manage the animal believe that in this particular case, necessarily performance in containing Vietnam from other diseases has been in relation to imported cases in the public health action and the action wouldn't believe that the government across with an all of government necessarily it's probably protecting Vietnam from other diseases. Pretty good performance. But at this point, it's been the public health action and the actions with regard to the broader issue with an all of government approach that has led to another thing. Pretty good performance. We have work controlling. A lot of work has to be done. With regard to the broader issue, work in terms of the international level, it needs a One Health approach. We have a tripartite arrangement to do. Colleagues, a lot of work has to be done. But this is what many have been speaking about at the international level. We live on one planet. We need a One Health approach. We need a One Health approach. We have a tripartite arrangement with our colleagues at threats to human health. But this is what many have been speaking about from the animal one pandemic threats. We need a One Health approach. So managing the interface between threats to human health is extremely important, and that interface has been stressed. Animal climate variability, by environmental exploitation, by the illegal trade. So managing the interface between many other factors is extremely important, and like that interface has been stressed. Other climate change, by environmental exploitation, by the illegal trade, that possible to deal with many other factors. There's no simple way to deal with that. It requires other things like climate change. Again, all of government response. It's not. It requires that possible to deal with an approach to regulation that doesn't drive. There's no simple way to deal with that. It really requires a complex that we ensure. Again, all of government response around the world. There's a lot of illegal trade in wildlife. An approach to regulation that doesn't drive things. I'm very sure. It's really important that markets are safe. That we ensure well regulated. They're well run now. But around the world, there's a lot of illegal trade in wildlife where people get their primary source of nutrition. Be very sure. How do we make them safe? They're well regulated, they're well run, but as the Director General has said, many millions of people get their primary source, nutritious food for people in a manner which is safe, and that's going to require a very deep discussion between countries, within countries, do their job across sectors, which is provide to have nutritious food for people in a manner which is safe, and that's going to require a very deep discussion between countries, within countries, and across sectors.
Zoonotic pathogens. These are viruses that jump from animals to humans. And I was very fortunate to spend almost 2 years in Cambodia, emerging diseases and zoonotic pathogens, where I was working at Institute Pasteur from animals to humans. And I was studying, and I was very fortunate to spend almost 2 years in Cambodia. What we were doing is we were working in the market 15 years ago now, and there are hundreds of researchers, maybe more than I was studying in the area of Southeast Asia. That are what we were doing is we were working in the market and have looked at animals in the markets. Where do those animals come from? Maybe where are they onward sold? In the area of Southeast Asia, how are they sold in a safe manner? That have looked at markets and have looked at working with those animals. And where do those animals who are buying those animals? Where are they onward sold? How are they sold? What we have learned, how are they sold in the sale of animals to keep the people who are is that there are safe ways to do this. Working with those animals and that to keep the people who are. What we learned from Vietnam, what we've learned from Cambodia, what we've learned from the sale of animals in China, in terms of that there are safe operation of these markets needs to be carried forward. You're right. It needs to be done better. It needs to be done better at a global level. And we work very closely with FAO and with OIE in terms of the safe operation of these markets needs to be carried forward safely. It needs to be done better. That needs to be done better at a global level. Minimize the opportunity for these viruses to jump from animals to humans. And we have guidance on how these markets can be operated safely. We have learned a lot to ensure that we prevent and we minimize the opportunity for these viruses to jump to learn about COVID-19 and the zoonotic origins. So there is a long way to go there, but we have learned a lot over the years with avian influenza, with SARS.
Thank you.
And we still need to learn about COVID-19 and the zoonotic origins of COVID-19.
Has important call to go to. So thank you. Unfortunately, we will have to conclude here. I'm looking at time, but obviously we will see you as important call next week. We do apologize to go to. So unfortunately, we will have to conclude here. But obviously, we will see you if you have questions that we do apologize immediately to many journalists and again to media@WHO to ask questions. But we are trying really our best. If you have questions that you need answers immediately to, please send us an email. I wish you a very media@WHO.int. We will have an audio file sent to you shortly.
Okay, thank you so much. So have a nice weekend, bon weekend, and see you on Monday. No, see you at the concert actually. Okay, thank you so much. Evening. So have a nice weekend, bon weekend, and I think it will be a morning. See you on Monday, afternoon somewhere. So see you at the concert actually tomorrow. Tomorrow evening. Again, this opportunity. Geneva time, Lady Gaga, it will be a morning somewhere, artists. Afternoon somewhere. Thank you so much. So see you at the concert, and I would like to use again this opportunity to thank Lady Gaga and all the artists. Thank you so much.
काम गर्दा त्यसै गरेर सोक